Good morning. Here we are, and today we are going to be doing lesson 7.8, and we are starting to work on telling time on a clock. There are a few materials that you are going to need as we learn to tell time on a clock. You are going to need to have a red pencil. It needs to be a pencil and not a crayon. You will also need a blue colored pencil, not a crayon. And if you need to have a red or a blue pencil and you don't have one at your house, I would be more than happy to let you take one here from school. You just need to stop by and pick it up. So you are going to need to have a red pencil and a blue colored pencil to help with the hour hand will always be indicated with a red pencil, and the minute hand will always be indicated with a blue pencil. And you'll see why we need those as we go through the day today. And as we work the week with our telling time, you are going to need to have these two pencils. You also will need to have the sheet that we will be working on. Now, you should have a little clock at your home that you picked up when you picked up your materials for this. Your clock is going to be a little bit different than my clock, but nevertheless, you're going to need to use that blue clock. You're going to see that the minute hand on this clock, which is this blue one, is one of the reasons we're going to be using a blue pencil today. And the hour hand on this clock is a red pencil. Now let's just talk for just a minute about these two hands on the clock. The hour hand, the red hand on the clock. Oh, by the way, this is an analog clock. An analog clock is a face clock. It's probably, I don't know if you have one in your house or not, but we do have them here at school. It's more of an older type clock compared to a digital clock. And I am sorry, but I'm thinking, oh, I have a digital clock on my phone. Okay, so a digital clock would be a clock like where it tells the time according to the hour and the minutes. So there are two different types of clocks. There's a digital clock that uses numbers, and there's an analog clock that uses a face. So the first part of our lesson today, we'll get into digital clocks in just a few minutes. So the first part of our lesson, we're going to be talking about the clock itself. The clock itself is divided with the numbers starting up at the top, well, actually starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Those numbers represent the hour. When the hour hand is pointing to, say, the 9 on the clock, you're going to know that we are in the 9 o'clock hour. The minute hand tells how many minutes past the hour it is, all right? For example, well, and then, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. You'll notice around the outside edge of your clock, it is divided into 60 little segments, starting with 60 at the top, and each little space in between, I'm going to get in a little bit closer, each little space in between is represented as 1 minute. So from this dot, which is 60, to the first dot is 1 minute. To the next dot is another minute. The next dot is another minute. And we're not counting the dots, we're counting the spaces in between the dot. So space 1 is 1 minute, space 2, 2 minutes, space 3, 3 minutes, space 4, 4 minutes, until we hit space 5, and you'll notice that it's indicated with a little 5. So this is actually a 1 and a 60, or excuse me, a 0 and a 60. So between the 0 minutes to the next hour number, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me, a little bit of springtime weather there. Oh my goodness, I apologize for that. Nice and loud right in your computer speaker. So 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, indicated 5. 5 more spaces puts us at 10. 5 more spaces puts us at 15. 5 more spaces puts us at 20. 5 more spaces put us at 25. 5 more spaces put us at 30. 5 more spaces puts us at 35, 5 more spaces 40, 5 more spaces 45, 5 more spaces 50, 5 more spaces 55, and the last 5 spaces puts us at 60, telling us that there are 60 minutes in the hour. As our clock starts at 0, say at the 9 o'clock hour, it will tick around 5, 10, 15. Can you see how I'm adding in those numbers? 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Notice what's happening to the hour hand. It is moving away from the 9 o'clock hour. 45, 50. That means it's 50 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. 55, 60, until we've ticked off 60 minutes and we are into the next hour, which is the 10 o'clock hour. Now, I don't think that the clock that we sent home with you is like these little clocks where the hour hand moves as you move around the clock, so you're going to have to move that hour hand as well. Some of our clocks here at school do move as the hour hand or as the minute hand moves its way around the clock for each hour. So that's kind of how an analog clock works, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So you need to have your little clock available, you need to have your red pencil, you need to have your blue pencil available as well. All right, so that's a quick little lesson on that and the materials you're going to need. Before we do this page, I would like to come over to the second page, because understanding the second page will really help you do a better job on the first page. So let's take a look at the learning center here with the model and draw. This is very important. This part of this paper is what you need to know as you go through this week. Okay? Without this knowledge, you will be lost while we're learning how to tell time on an analog clock, which I told you about just a moment ago, or a face clock, or a digital clock where the numbers are shown using the hour and the minutes. The little colon there separates the hour away from how many minutes past the hour it is. So it takes 5 minutes for the minute hand to move from one number to the next number on a face clock. And when we're talking about the numbers, we're talking about the hour number. The 12 o'clock hour, the 1 o'clock hour, the 2 o'clock hour, the 3 o'clock hour, the 4 o'clock hour, the 5 o'clock hour. So as that minute hand moves around from each of those numbers around the outside edge, it takes 5 minutes, even though you don't say it's 12 unless you're talking about the hour. So it takes 5 minutes for the minute hand, that's the blue hand, to move from one number to the next on the face clock. So as we're looking at our analog clock here, I'm going to get this up a little bit bigger so you can see it. So we started with the minute hand, which is the blue hand. The minute hand, which is the blue hand. And I would like you to use your pencil to indicate the difference between the hour hand and the minute hand. Okay? So when we started, the minute hand was up here on the 12. It's not the 12 o'clock hour, it would have been the 10 o'clock hour. So we started at the 10 o'clock hour, and we're counting around. Every 5 minutes goes from number to number. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Even though they're saying 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, it is a jump of 5, but you know how to count by fives. Counting again, count with me. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, see how I'm right on that too. 15 minutes on the 3, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So each jump from the hour number to the hour number is a 5-minute jump until you get all the way around the clock. So the hands on the clocks, the hands on these clocks show 4 o'clock and 4:30. Write the times below write the times below on the analog clock, or excuse me, on the digital clocks. It doesn't say digital, but that's what. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoa, Miss Star. Sorry about that. This is an analog. This is a digital. You're supposed to write the time on this clock down on this clock. Okay. So now I'm going to come over here for just a minute. We'll get to that in a second. So the hour hand tells the hour. This is important. The hour hand, which is red, tells the hour, okay? So as that hour hand moves around, it tells you what hour we are presently in. Please highlight that in red. The minute hand tells how many minutes past the hour we are. And we'll look at that in just a second. The 30 tells you that the time is 30 minutes after the hour. This is very important. 30 minutes that we're going to be counting here in just a minute tells you that it is 30 minutes past the hour. So we're going to come back over here for just a moment, and I'm going to talk about these. Now, I always want you to use the blue pencil for the minute hand and the red pencil for the hour hand. Now, I want you to notice that the minute hand is longer than the hour hand. The minute hand almost touches those numbers. The hour hand, you're going to see a little circle right in the middle. That hour hand is shorter than the minute hand and only comes to the very edge of that big circle. You don't want it to touch the number like it does here. You just want it to be outside. You need to be able to see the difference between the length of the hour hand and the length of the minute hand. So looking at this clock, the hour is the 4 o'clock hour. That hour hand tells me that we are in the 4 o'clock hour. And right now, as it stands on 0, we are at 0 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Therefore, the time on our digital clock is 4 o'clock. And it's 0 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Now, let's come over to the next analog clock, and we are going to once again show the hour hand. Notice that it comes right to the edge of that circle. Oops, you probably can't see that very well. There's the hour hand with my red pencil. Here's the minute hand with my blue pencil. Now, the minute hand, if you'll remember, was back up at the 12. I'm going to bring down my clock, and I'm going to put exactly the same hour on this clock as it is on my paper. This will be very helpful to you to use your little clock to demonstrate what's happening. Whoops, sorry, sliding around. So I have put exactly the same time on my my manipulative clock as I have on the paper, and I am going to count around until my minute hand is down on the 6. So here we go. Are you ready? Here we go. There's 5. Notice what happens to the hour hand. It moved a little bit too. 10, 15. That hand is moving. Now I am 20 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. 25 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock until I land down here on the 6. Notice that my hour hand has moved about halfway between the 4 o'clock hour and the 5 o'clock hour. Now I'm going to count that on this clock. You're going to count with me, starting at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I'm going to also write that in, 5, 10, 15. When I get to that 3, it's 15 minutes past, 20, 25, and finally when I get down to the 6, I have gone 30 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. I'm going to go back and do that again on my practice clock. Are you ready? And 5, watch what happens to the hour hand. 10 minutes past. 15 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, 20 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, 25 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, 30 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, which tells me that it is the 4 o'clock hour and 30 minutes past that hour. We read that time as 4:30. 4 o'clock hour and 30 minutes past that hour, 4:30. We also call that half past 3 o'clock. And the reason that it's half past is if you come up to this one, I'm going to go back, we have gone halfway around the clock. So 30 minutes is half of the 60 minutes it takes to make the hour. So it is half past because we have covered a distance of half of the clock. You're going to hear me say that a lot because that's what this lesson is about today, besides learning how to understand how a clock works. All right, so now we're going to come back over to the front page. Now the front page, and I'm going to do these first couple with you. The front page, this clock is 3 o'clock. That's what I'm telling you. We're going to show 3 o'clock. And on the second clock, we're going to show 3:30. You're going to do these with me. So I'm going to start with showing what the time would look like on my analog clock using my red pencil to show the hour. The hour is the 3 o'clock hour. So I know that my shorter hand, the red hand, is going to be pointing to the 3 o'clock hour. There it is. And I don't want to go past the edge of that circle because I'm talking about the 3 o'clock hour. Okay? Now, let's take a look at if I have any minutes past that 3 o'clock. I do not. I am at 0 minutes past, which tells me that I'm going to point my minute hand straight up to the 12, but really we're talking about 0 minutes past the 3 o'clock hour. The 12 right now really doesn't matter other than the fact that you're pointing that way. Notice that my minute hand is going up and touching the 12. I need you to do that as well. So here we have the 3 o'clock hour. Now over to the next one. We are still in the 3 o'clock hour. We're still in the 3 o'clock hour. And we have gone 30 minutes past that 3 o'clock hour. So I am going to take my pencil and I'm going to count around 30 minutes so I know where to put my minute hand. Ready? And from the 12, which starts at 0, counting 1 space over to, or actually it's 5 spaces. Sorry, 5 spaces because each one of those spaces is a minute. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All right, so I'm going to write those in. So from here to here was 5, 10, 15. You need to write those in too. 20, 25, and 30. So I know that if it's 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock, that my minute hand is going to come down and touch the 6. My minute hand is coming down and touching the 6. Now, I am going to put this time onto my clock. Here's my 3 o'clock hour that we had right there. There's my 3 o'clock hour, and I am going to count around, oops, get that right on that 3 o'clock hour. I'm going to count around 30 minutes, and I want to see where my hour hand ends up so I know where to put it. Here we go. Ready? And 5, 10, 15, 20. See, I'm right on the 20, 25, and 30. Did my hour hand stay right on the 3? Nope, it moved because I went halfway around the clock. My hour hand actually moved halfway in between the 3 and the 4. So when I draw my hour hand, I'm going to try and get it about halfway between the 3 and the 4 so that these two clocks match. Oops, there we go, a little bit easier to see that. So I've got 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock or 3:30. 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock gives me 3:30. And we could also say this one as, because I've gone halfway around that clock, I've gone halfway around, it would be half past 3 o'clock. Or we usually shorten that and say half past 3. Okay, see how I went half past? And I want you to also shade half of your clock. Draw a little line so that it's halfway. Shade that half so you can see that's why we call that half past. All right, let's try this again. This time we're going to have I'm going to write the times down here. We're going to start with 8 o'clock. And this clock is going to be 8:30. All right, we're going to do this one together too, and then you'll be on your own to try the rest of them without me when you start your practice. I'm going to set this clock to be 8 o'clock. Ticking around. I need my hour hand to be on the 8. There it is, and I need my minute hand to be at 0 minutes past 8 o'clock. So if you'll set your clock that way too, that would be great. I'm going to duplicate what I see on this clock with my hour hand saying the 8 o'clock hour and 0 minutes past. That will give me 8 o'clock. So let's move this over. Oh, maybe I just need to come up a little bit. All right, so my 8 o'clock hour, I'm going to have my hour hand pointing to the 8. I don't want to go past the edge. Make sure your little arrow is indicating that we are on the 8 o'clock hour. And my minute hand is telling me that I am 0 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. I'm going to put a little 0 up there. I am 0 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour, or in digital numbers, 8 o'clock. The 8 o'clock hour and 0 minutes past that hour. All right, so now we're going to take our clock, we're moving it over, and we are going to show 8:30. So let's go ahead and count our way around the clock. This is going to be a little harder because my 30, I'm going to put that little 30 right inside that little count. There we go. That way I can do my next count. So let's count starting at 0. 0 minutes past, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Uh-oh, that got in the way. I should have not put that there. I'm going to move that. I'm moving that. I don't know where to put it. I'm going to put it over here. Thought I was smart to put it there, but I'm running into a problem when I count around the clock. Oh, well, it's been a while since I did this. And 30. There we go. And I'm going to show those times. 5 minutes past, 10 minutes past, and you're doing the same thing. 15 minutes past, 20 minutes past, 25 minutes past, and 30 minutes past. So I'm going to count around 30 minutes. You're going to join me. And 5 minutes past, 10, 15 minutes past, 20 minutes past, 25 minutes past, and 30 minutes past. All right, so I know if I'm going halfway around the clock that my minute hand is going to be pointing down at the 6, because that is 30 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour, which is where we started. Now what happened to my hour hand as I did that? Did it move too? Yes, it moved about halfway. Oops, that's not very halfway, Miss Star. Let's try that again. Oh, Miss Star, you're not doing so good. Let's go about halfway between the 8 o'clock hour and the 9 o'clock hour. And I'm being very careful. Ooh, I slipped it over just a tiny bit. But yes, it moves when the minute hand goes halfway around. I'm going to draw my clock in half and shade that halfway around. So I am halfway around the clock, or half past, what hour were we on? Half past the 8 o'clock hour, or half past 8. So 8:30 and half past 8 are two ways to say the same time frame. All right, so that gives you a start on what we're going to be doing today. As I said, I want you to use your pencils and your analog math manipulative, your clock, to do the next pages that we're going to do. And if you have questions or concerns, you can always come back to this page to help you. Or you can go back and do, I'm going to call this the learning box. This is the learning box. This is like having Miss Star right there at your house all the time to tell you what the important parts of this lesson are going to be. So I would pay close attention to this learning box. If you get lost and can't remember what you're supposed to do, well, you can come back and read over this again so that you understand exactly what we're doing. All right, so then your job is going to look at the clocks, these analog clocks, and write the time as a digital time. So when you're doing this, I do want you to show me your minute hands and where they are. They need to be done in blue. And I want you to also show me the hour hand in red so that you can see what hour we're talking about. All right. Okay, and I also want to see your counting around the clock as you count the minutes. All right. Remember that when it's straight up, it's 0 minutes. 12, that little 12 always indicates 0 minutes past the hour. So you're going to do those 3 problems, and then you're going to come over and do these problems. And these are exactly like these. They're just a little bit smaller, but you can handle it. But of course, I need you to make sure that you indicate the color of the hands. And then on this one, you're looking at a digital clock, and you're going to put that same time on an analog clock, looking at the digital clock, which is 2 o'clock, and putting that same time on your analog clock, and 11 o'clock also on your analog clock. And my friends, I'm going to strongly encourage you to use your clock manipulative so that you can pay attention to how things are happening. So remember, as you move that minute hand around, you're also going to have to move the hour hand. I don't think yours moves automatically like my cool little one does here at school. Alrighty, but you might have a clock at your house that you could even play with the hands on the clock. I don't know what you have at your house, but I'm sure that your parents can help you figure out what materials you have at your house that might help you to be able to better learn how to read a clock. Okay, let's go to the next page. Alrighty, so you have problem 11, which is a word problem you're going to need to do, and draw the hour, or the what am I trying to say? Draw the hands on the clock using, of course, your colored pencils, and then you're going to have to explain how you knew what to do to write the answer to that clock. Down here, you're supposed to match the clocks to show the same time. We have analog clocks that are showing a time. We have digital clocks that are showing a time. I want you to write an A above this clock, a B above this clock, and a C above this clock. And then down below, I've drawn a line, and you will need to as well, because this is not on your paper. This is just to make matching these easier. If you think the A clock belongs with this clock, you're going to write A on this line. If you think the A clock belongs with this clock, you're going to write A on this line. If you think the A clock belongs with this clock, you're going to write A on this line. So you've got three clocks. You need to tell me which time matches the analog clock, which digital clock matches the analog clock. Okay, and then of course we have the exit ticket that you will do last. So we'll come back to that one in just a moment. And I want to go to the last page. This is a review of what we have done today. You're going to need to do your counting. You're going to need to use your pencils. Please don't skip these parts. If you're going to learn how to read a clock in a week, which is how long we have to do this, you need to do everything that Ms. Star is inviting you to do. Okay, and then we have 3 spiral review problems. Here's one on money. Here's one on greater than, less than. Here's one on using the cube models to tell what the value is here with these cubes. And again, another even and odd question. I'm hoping you remember what I told you about 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, I'm an even number, great, and 1, 3, 7, 9, I'm an odd number all the time. You're going to have to figure that one out because we've now done several problems doing that. Now let's go back to the exit ticket, which of course you will do after you have completed everything else and you have gone over and checked your work with me. Okay, we're back. So down on problem number 5 on your exit ticket. Now I'm not very happy that they did this. You are expected to be able to draw a clock. So it says draw a clock to show the 2:30 time. Describe how you decided where the clock hand should point. Now I'm going to tell you what, you've probably not had a lot of experience drawing a clock. So I'm going to take a few minutes, show you how to do it. I've put one on here for you, but I think we need to practice drawing a clock face for an analog clock. Why? Because you're going to have to do it a couple of times this week. So what I have done is I have gotten myself a piece of blank white paper, and you're going to need to get one as well. I've taken that blank piece of paper and I have folded it in half, hamburger way the first time, and then I folded it in half again so that I have a small little rectangle. Okay, a small little rectangle. I'm going to open it back up. I hope you can find a piece of little scratch paper. If you can't, you probably need to pause the video while you go and get a piece of paper, and you'll also need some kind of an object that will allow you to draw a circle. I'm just using a cup that I found in my classroom so that I can draw a really good circle. And I do want you to make sure that you've got something that you can trace around and draw a really good circle. Oops, I just made a little boo-boo right there as I picked my pencil up. So if you need to pause the video to go and get a piece of paper so that you can do this part with me, please pause the video because I'm going to continue on even though you might have paused. I'll be here when you get back. So I'm going to draw 4 analog clocks using an object that I found in my room, making a nice little analog clock face, and I want you to have 4 of them because I want to practice drawing an analog clock 4 times so that when you get to the exit ticket you'll be able to do it. Okay, so we're going to start right over here, and I am looking for, let's bring this down a little bit closer. I'm looking for about the center. You don't have to be perfect, but I put a little belly button, all right? So right in the belly button part of the clock. So I'm going to start at the top with the 12 o'clock hour. Okay, so are you. I'm going to come straight down and put in the 6 o'clock hour. All right, so from the 12 o'clock hour straight down to the 6 o'clock hour. I'm going to come to my belly button and I'm going to go straight across. So I'm dividing this into, I'm starting at the top and the bottom. Then I'm going from my belly button over to the right side, and I'm going to put in the 3 o'clock hour straight across to the 9 o'clock hour. If you will draw your clock this way, you'll be pretty accurate all the time. Then there are 2 hours in between. I've got hour 1 and hour 2, hour 3, hour 4, hour 5. I'm trying really hard to keep them evenly spaced. Hour 6, hour 7, hour 8, hour 9, hour 10, hour 11. Now, if you will do that, you will not have any trouble putting your hands on the clock. Let's go down. We're going to try it again. We're going to start at the top with the 12 o'clock hour, which is always also 0 minutes. Coming straight, I forgot my belly button. Belly button right in the middle, bink. Coming straight down, 6 o'clock hour. If you'll put these 4 numbers in first, you'll always be perfect. Go to the belly button, go to the right, put in the 3 o'clock hour. Go to the belly button, go directly across to the left, put in the 9 o'clock hour, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video. Here we go again. Belly button right in the middle. 12, 6, 3, 9, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11. All right, here we go. Going down. Here we go. Little belly button right in the middle. 12 o'clock hour, 6 o'clock hour, 3 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock hour, 1 o'clock hour, 2 o'clock hour, 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock hour, 7 o'clock hour, 8 o'clock hour, 10 o'clock hour, 11 o'clock hour. So I'd like you to practice, and you've got another side where you could practice more if you needed to, because you are going to need to draw analog clocks. I'm going to remind you that when you draw your when you draw your hands on the clock, when you're doing the minute hand, it should go all the way up and touch the hour when you're doing the minute hand. Okay, it indicates how many minutes past the hour, and your hour hand is shorter and does not come out and touch. So if I drew my minute hand touching the 12, which would be the 0 minute hour, and my hour hand is pointing towards the 3, I would know that it is the 3 o'clock hour with 0 minutes past 3 o'clock. Okay? All right, so there you go. That will help you to be ready to do your exit ticket, where you're going to have to draw a little clock and then put the hands on the clock as well. Wow, this has been a very long lesson. I'm so sorry. And we're not finished with it yet, so this is going to be a long one for you today. Anyway, there you go. You're going to go ahead and pause the video and do the assignment that I have given you. And then, my friends, you are going to do the exit ticket and send it to your teacher after you have completed all of your work. So go ahead. Here's what we did together this morning. Pause the video, finish the rest of the practice pages, and then we'll correct them together, and then you are on your way to your exit ticket. I know it's going to be a long day for math, but it's just the way it is. See you in a minute. Well, probably not a minute. See you in a while. Pause the video. Okay, are you back? Alrighty, so we already did this page together, and so I'm not going to go there, but I am going to come over here, and I'm going to come down to the clocks down here at the bottom. So you were supposed to tell what time was on this clock, and I'm going to move into it a little bit closer so you can see it better. So on clock number 1, we were at 0 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. How do I know that? Because my minute hand was pointing to the 12, and my hour hand was telling me I was in the 1 o'clock hour. So it is the 1 o'clock with 0 minutes past the hour, or 1 o'clock. Okay, over to the next one. I counted around 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, which put me right down here halfway around, which tells me that I am 30 minutes past. So I wrote 30 minutes past, and I was on the 8 o'clock hour, but I have moved slightly from the 8 o'clock hour in between the 8 and the 9. I have not quite made it to the 9 o'clock hour, so I know that it is 8:30, or 30 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock, or half past 8 o'clock. Okay, I know I'm going to be saying a ton. If you need to, you can always go back and rewind me and listen to me again, which is the nice thing about having your lesson on the video, because you can always go back and double check your work. So again, we are counting around 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I know that my minute hand has gone 30 minutes past the hour. My hour was the 3 o'clock hour, because I have not quite made it to the 4 yet. I'm halfway between the 3 o'clock hour and the 4 o'clock hour, which tells me I'm still in the 3 o'clock hour until this hand is touching that 4. So it is the 3 o'clock hour, 30 minutes past, or half past 3 o'clock, or half past 3. Alrighty, moving on to the next page. Here we go. Because I've spent so much time on the first part, I'm just going to show you that this would have been this would be 9:30, or 30 minutes past 9 o'clock, or half past 9. 12:30, and if you're saying that it was 1:30, you need to go back and look at it again, because we're halfway between the 12 o'clock hour and the 1 o'clock hour, which means we're not done with the 12 o'clock hour. We're only 30 minutes past, or half past 12 o'clock. Here we have the 6 o'clock hour, which is 0 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. 0 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. 4 o'clock 11:30 or half past 11 or 30 minutes past the hour of 11 o'clock, 5:30 or half past 5 or 30 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. And if you're missing any of these, you need to go back and figure out why. Okay, so I'm drawing 7:30 on my clock, which puts my minute hand 30 minutes past the hour. And it's past the hour of 7 o'clock, so I'm halfway between the 7 o'clock hour and the 8 o'clock hour. This one is no minutes past, 0 minutes past the 2 o'clock hour, and 0 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. I'm kind of going through this fast because we're running on almost to an hour here today. Okay, on this one you should have shown the hands to be 11:30. So it is 30 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. We haven't made it to the 12 o'clock hour yet. We're still on the 11 o'clock hour. So 11:30 or half past 11. Here's the explanation as to why. Halfway between the 11 and the 12, with the hour hand says that it's still the 11 o'clock hour. The minute hand on 6 says that it's 30 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. And on this one, you should have said clock A goes with this one for 7:30, clock B goes with 8 o'clock, and clock C goes with 9:30. And I am going through this fast because I realize that you are probably getting tired of listening to me today. All right, so on the back page that you should do before you do the exit ticket, this one is 3:30 or 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock or half past 3. This is the 6 o'clock hour because we are 0 minutes past the hour. We haven't ticked off any time yet. And down here, you should have come up with $1.77. This is 260 is less than 360 because 200s is less than 300s, which is where I should start my counting. If you said that these blocks indicate 215, congratulations. And because we are looking for the even number, we're looking for the number that is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm an even number. Great. All the rest of these numbers, 1, 3, and 5, are all odd numbers. And with that, I am going to remind you to do the exit ticket and send that to your teacher. And my friends, I am going to strongly encourage you to practice reading clocks this whole week. Walk around your house, take your little clock with you, and practice reading clocks all week long. Whew, Miss Star, you have been long-winded. You have a great day of learning, and I will see you tomorrow with more lessons on learning how to tell time. See you later. Bye-bye.